Welcome to this week's technical tip where we talk about motion status attempt. Motion status attempt exists to keep those pesky enemies from sneaking up either close to you or right up behind you. There are three reasons why you might want to carry out a motion status attempt. It's a free vehicle covered arc or turreted covered arc change. It eliminates the point blank fire die roll modifier. And of course it makes you harder to hit to live another day because you are now a motion target. Let's take a look at this American Sherman hidden behind the woods and the two German units also hidden on the other side of woods. The mechanics of motion status attempt are pretty simple. If an enemy unit is out of the line of sight and then moves into your line of sight, you can exercise or make a motion status attempt. And to do so, you just have to roll less than or equal to on one die the number of movement factors or movement points they spent in your line of sight after moving into it. So let's see what happens if this German AFV takes a flanking move around these woods like this. It would move around and say it stops in this hex and it expends 4 movement points in the line of sight of the American Sherman. The American Sherman now has a Panzer staring right down its tailpipe, both with a rear shot and a near point blank shot only 2 hexes away. So in order to take advantage of those 3 reasons I spoke about earlier, it might want to take a motion status attempt. If the German Panzer spent 4 movement points in the line of sight of that American Sherman while being out of line of sight, all it needs to do is roll a 4 or less on one die. In this case, the Sherman would have made a successful motion attempt. And after doing so, it could do a free vehicle covered arc change and could spin its front face free of charge to face the German tank and have a motion counter placed on top of it. Now that it is moving, it cannot be fired on using the point blank fire modifier. It is now a moving target, and it has now placed its front armor facing the German tank. Now let's reset everything through the magic of editing and take a look at what happens if this German unit with the Panzerschreck moves into the line of sight of the American Sherman. Because as the rule is stated, it's not just vehicles, it is units. So an infantry unit also moving into the line of sight could trigger a motion status attempt. If these German units moved into the woods here, they would spend 2 movement factors. And right at that point, the American Sherman could declare a motion status attempt, and they would have to roll a 2 or less to be successful. And they got it. And again, they could rotate either their turret covered arc or their vehicle covered arc to face the German squad with the Panzerschreck. There's no real downside to a motion status attempt. It's a free attempt. You can even do it if you're already marked with a motion counter. So if it's a defensive fire phase and there are German units moving around you into your line of sight and you're already in motion, you can still make a motion status attempt roll and get a free vehicle covered arc or turret covered arc change out of it if you're already marked with a motion status. But you can't take more than 1 motion status attempt per unit per defensive fire phase. That's it for motion status attempt. Use it often. It could save your vehicles and have them fight another day. We'll see you next Friday. Roll snake eyes all weekend.